Imagine ordering and chatting with doctors all online and getting birth control delivered right to your door every month. Enter Nurx, a company that's here to make getting birth control easier. Nurx means fewer doctor visits, skipping pharmacy lines, and automatic refills you don't have to think about. Plus, it's the most affordable option out there without insurance and could be free with insurance. Go to Nurx, NURX.com/blame for a $20 credit. Own iconic luxury items at unreal values with The RealReal, the leading reseller of authenticated luxury from top designers at up to 90% off retail. Every item is authenticated by The RealReal's team of experts, and new arrivals come in daily. New customers receive an automatic $25 off at checkout. Shop in-store, online, or download the app and get 20% off select items with the promo code REAL. TheRealReal.com, promo code REAL. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. And oh my God, I need to fucking ask you how to pronounce your last name.
Oh, no worries. It's Darragh. Like, I dare ya.
Darragh.
Yeah, a lot of people say Darragh, Darga, Darg.
Yeah, I was gonna pronounce every letter in there just to like cover it.
As long as you don't call me hussy. That's what I always say.
Call you
or
what?
do hussy. It's a joke from like 1970. Don't judge me based on that opening.
I just don't call me Kelsey. I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like,
no, you can call me anything you want. Really, I'll respond.
oh my God. Well,
but it's Kelsey Darragh, just in case you are worried.
Okay, guys. Kelsey Darragh. Can I do it every time like that?
How do you say yours?
Meghan Rienks, like ice skating rinks.
Oh.
I know. There's two.
What the fuck is up with our ancestors? Why did they do that?
Dude, I don't know. Like
Rienks.
Yeah, just take out the E and then just like make it look like the word rink. And then also then it could be like Jenna Rink from 13 going on 30.
Cute.
Right? And it would all be full circle because my boyfriend's name is Mats and his name is Mark Ruffalo is named Matt in that. And he looks like Mark Ruffalo.
Exactly like
we just
Mark
got
Ruffalo.
like,
it's like a
deep
full
web
circle.
here.
Yeah. It's like
Wait,
a whole thing.
You spell your Meghan with an H.
Yeah.
My sister's Meghan without an H.
Oh, it's
Mine
so short.
too.
Oh,
It's such a short way to do it.
Wow, that's weird. Is her middle name Elizabeth?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Anyone's middle name Elizabeth?
I just feel like Meghan Elizabeth is so many people's names.
Yeah. Are you guys Irish?
100%.
Okay. But no H?
No, H.
That's
Wait, is that
maybe-
an Irish thing?
I don't know. That's what my dad told me. But maybe it's a lie.
That's a liar.
maybe.
Is Rienks?
No, that's Dutch.
Got it.
Allegedly.
Well, now that we know each other's genealogy.
Yeah, wait, what's your zodiac sign before we finish
I'm
this
so
part?
glad you asked. It's a Leo.
You're a Leo. When's your birthday?
August 16th.
Oh my God.
What
wait,
are you?
Zach was just here and he's a Leo and I'm a Leo and my birthday's August 4th.
Oh my God. Oh God. So many Leos in one room is my
And
favorite
ADHD.
/ very like nervous place to
Oh
be.
yeah, it means it's a long episode. This is the podcast, guys. It's Don't Blame Me. It's an advice podcast. If you are new here, this is where we listen to voicemails of not just just end there and full stop. We listen to voicemails. You guys leave us voicemails about the things happening in your life, and we give our advice. And if you want to call in, the phone number is 310-694-0976. And international listeners can email an audio file to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. So it's going to be a lot of advice giving. I'm
Whoa.
excited.
Do you memorize that number just because you've done this so much?
Yeah, it took it shouldn't have taken me so long.
The
to
fact that
memorize it.
anyone our age can memorize a phone number to me is actually a special
So
talent.
here's the thing though. If let's say I got some sort of emergency happened, I lost my phone.
You fucked.
The only number I can call is the podcast number. Or my best friend who lives in San Francisco. I don't have my boyfriend's number memorized. I have nothing. Like we've always had I go to jail, my one call would probably be to no offense to my best friend Cindy, it'd probably be to the podcast.
So is someone like checking
We
that
have
out to
somebody
make
that's
sure she's
checking
okay?
it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if
Julie
we don't hear
would
from
be like-
Meghan
Julie
for 2 days.
would like text me and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to jail.
Go pick up Meghan.
That's a true friend.
It would, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Okay, shall we listen to give some advice?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hi, Megan. My name is, I'm not telling you my name, but I am 22. I was currently listening to the episode that you had taped with Asa, and you had brought up kind of something when you were talking to the caller who had actually called back about advice about the episode with Ned Fulmer when she was giving advice to somebody else. You ended up giving her advice on her ex. I was calling because I have some advice that I need on my own, and it just brought up something that I had in mind. Because I've noticed a lot on your podcast that when people have any problems with exes, it's like usually if it's not productive, kind of cut them out of your life. But in my situation, I had a really toxic ex, and him and I You know, we went through a whole bunch in our relationship with him, you know, threatening suicide and all of that stuff. And I can, now being out of it, identify all of the toxic parts of it. However, him and I have a 3-year-old daughter together. So I really can't just fully cut him out of my life, even though I know that was what's best for me, because my daughter has to have her dad in his life, or in her life, sorry. And he's a really good dad, and he's really productive, and, you know, we work out well in that case, but I'm having the hardest time getting over him, especially since now he is in a new relationship. He recently got in a new relationship and let me know and all of that good stuff, and I have been taking it super hard, super emotionally, because I think in my head I thought that maybe, you know, someday down the line he would turn around and want us all to be a family together again. And because we've tried the dating thing, it didn't work, especially after we had our daughter, and it just hasn't worked out for us. But I'm having a really hard time that he's the one that's leading the relationship first, you know, getting over him and being okay and letting him move on, but I am still very sad, and it feels like I'm letting go of the family, and that relationship is tough to kind of let go of, because there is so much history. So I was just wondering if you had any advice on how to get over an ex, especially when you still have to be around them, you still have ties to them, especially having kids with them. I know you may not have direct advice, but if you have any advice that could help me kind of get over him and manage my feelings, even though I have to be in touch with him all the time, for our daughter, but how to kind of get over him and move on with my life. That would be great. Thank you, Megan.
Oh, that's rough.
That's tough.
I mean, I don't relate on like the kid level, but like I so understand. Like there have been times where like I've been the one to like recognize that the relationship is bad or instigate a breakup, and then if that person moves on faster than me, like I'm still and then suddenly hurt because I think that's what's happening. I'm not saying like you're like rationally saying like, yes, like I'm aware of all these toxic things, but then when someone else moves on, I think what you first of all need to like recognize is the fact that like him dating somebody else and everything like that, it's not him choosing that over the family. If he still wants to be like, he told you about the new relationship, like he's going through kind of all of that process, and he's still like being a great dad, so he's not choosing that over this. I think what you need to, and this is like not just like shit talk any like him or like the girl or anything like that. Right now it sounds like you think that he got all of his shit together and this girl gets to have the great version of him. You don't know that. Like if he hasn't put the work in, she might be ending up in a similar position as you. And then also sometimes some people aren't toxic, but some relationships are toxic and two people together. So maybe he's the same way, but not that, again, like not that this is on you, but like you guys maybe just were really toxic for each other. And this other relationship, it's not going to be like that. And that's not anything you would have ever been able to do. And it's not him changing, or this is going to be the same like toxic thing. But like, I think the biggest hang up is you probably have is like feeling like she's getting the better version, like in a making of superficial way. Like I had friends who like dated guys and like then they like broke up and they got like hella fucking hot, and then the next girl, she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like you got this guy, or like someone who like didn't want to have sex or like didn't go down on girls or whatever, and then like got that with the next person. And like in college, like my college boyfriend, like he dumped me and I was like so upset. And then but he was like the guy who like never like he like didn't told me there's like, oh, like commitment things, like I'm not really into that. And then like immediately after started dating this other girl.
That's always
and
how
then
it happens.
all of the things he was able to do. And for so long I was like, well, why couldn't he have done that with me? And it was like, well, no, it's not about me. Right. It was like who they were so different than how him and I were. So I think like knowing that, because I think that's probably, at least for me, if I was in that situation, that's what would hurt, because you feel like you're watching someone get what you didn't get. And of course
you're only seeing the best parts of like that. I'm assuming she said she's 22. Like I'm sure these people have Instagrams, Facebooks, Twitters. Yeah. You're probably only seeing the best version of what they're doing together, and that's going to sting. And she said something about like, you were hoping one day he was going to change maybe and want the family back together. I think someone can be a really great dad and be a shitty person. Like, I don't think those things are together. And knowing that like you saw his true colors, and it's so cheesy, but like when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And if you saw what that is, which is like, you know, those threatening suicide, that stuff is exactly the definition of a toxic person who's threatening and using that against you. It's one thing if they don't know how to ask for help, but to do it against someone that you care about and are building a life with, and especially the mother of your child, like I'm going to cancel you.
Yeah.
And I think you should know that like, the other thing too is when you do have to be in constant communication with someone, you're maybe thinking taking text as something else or having an excuse to text that person. But for you and like your mental health, my advice would be to keep that relationship as contained to the child as possible. So not even like hi emojis with like, you know, any bullshit, any fluff as if this person is your friend. I think it's keep it that this is the father. You are strictly talking about pickup times, drop off times, not sending any like photo. Like you can still raise someone and not have to have a relationship with that person at all.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't even need to be friendly. It can be like just a person that you have to meet up with twice a week. And I know it's tough, but I'm kind of blunt.
I'm the same. And I think if you are having like a hard time with it, like not like if you feel like, I don't know, like you start to romanticize it or anything like that, like have like one of your friends drive with you when you go drop your kid off and you see him, or like have a friend with you in the car when you pick her up, like, or him or her up, daughter, or maybe who cares? Pick them up. And then the same thing of like, if you have to text him and ask that and you're afraid of holding yourself accountable, because I think you're exactly right. Like there should be no fluff. There is none of those like excuses, because like you're going to be able to directly contrast as to how you used to talk to each other, like fuck each other, say fucking talk to each other. True. But like, so it does feel different, and like it's easy to slip back into that routine. And so I think like, even if you're just every time you text him to talk about literally the specifics, have a friend with you as you're doing it. Be like, please just make sure that I don't like start this. And I think the second that you clue other people in, then they can also hold you responsible for it. And they can also tell you, like you can be like, please remind me why we broke up and like why I'm not with this person. And they can do that for you. And then I think there's like a lot of, I think it's, and I say this as someone who doesn't even have kids, but I think it's a lot easier for men to date, like fathers to date post breaking up than mothers. And I think you probably feel, which you shouldn't, but it's understandable. There's so much like mom guilt of being like, your daughter's 2 years old and like he's moving on and able to, but like there are still so many other things that like only a mom can do for their kid. And I think like you need to like, I think you, as much like being a mom is awesome and great, I'm sure, but like you also need to prioritize like yourself and moving on, and throwing yourself into like, oh, I'm just going to be like the greatest mom and the best mom forever and all that stuff. Like you're going to do that regardless. Like that's awesome. Like you are like being a great mom. You don't need to stress and worry about that. And I think that like the more energy you can put into like another adult relationship, whether like an adult relationship with yourself, with your friends, and like that, because when you put all of this and you just have that like, not that I'm saying you have like all this just riding on your kid, like that's also part of your ex, like that whole thing. So like he's moving on, and I do believe, like, at least for me, like I am never fully over somebody and like still around to somebody else, but like it's like maybe even that just means like getting back on dating apps and like having that, because if the issue is if you haven't dated anybody post him, then like when his name pops up on your phone, you're used to seeing like a flirty text, like he's the guy that you would usually do that to. And normally my advice is like find another guy so like you don't do that with this guy, but you still have to talk to him. So there needs to be another part of your life that you can have those, like put those feelings towards, because right now you had those feelings for him and he's not going to be able to be out of your life. And so now like explore the other sides of it, and don't feel guilty, because I think that makes you a better mom. Like I think being like confident and independent and like really focusing on like being the best version of yourself, I think really like helps. And also there's something to be said about like hooking up, like I think that could be like a really great thing.
And not comparing anything of like your life to his. Just because he's now back in a relationship does not mean it's good, does not mean it's healthy, does not mean it's going to be successful. Like what you said about like, you don't project an idea of what you think that relationship is. You have to look at it. You shouldn't even look at it. You should, I'm not one to be like petty unfollows, but if it's not positive to your timeline, take it away.
Mute him.
I love that mute button.
Dude, I've utilized
saved
it.
So many relationships.
My gosh. The amount of people that I don't have to be like, I don't really like you, but I can't tell you that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Utilize it.
Yeah. And I think exactly like you said, though, that there doesn't need to be, don't feel like obliged to have any sort of like over fluff and politeness. Like you
don't owe him shit.
Exactly. And like you both are co-parent, and all that's important is that he's a good dad to your daughter, but him being a good dad to your daughter should not rely on like you guys having a like friendship relationship.
It's hard because it's like you're supposed to be the mother, you're supposed to be the kind, nurturing, like all the biological bullshit that the books tell us does not mean you have to be that to him.
No,
like when he comes to pick him up, it could be hello, thank you, and shut the door. It doesn't need to be like, how are you? How's your new girlfriend? You don't need to check in on him. You don't owe him any energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
and if you guys eventually get to that place, then fine, but you don't have to be there now.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I don't think it's realistic to be there when one of you's in a relationship and the
especially if
other's
you're trying to cutting someone off is great if you can do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of faking it till you make it, but I like what you said. Like if you need to pour over his shit for another couple 6 months or whatever until you're back on Tinder, do that. Because it's harder to pretend like you cut someone off like you're a bad bitch that just like Taylor Swift's people out of your life, but then you get drunk and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna text everything. Like don't lie to yourself too.
Yeah. So best of luck. And fuck, that's hard.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I just now want to keep telling everybody, be like, hey, this does suck for you. Like, just so you know, it does suck.
Validating someone's feelings. Like,
I love
like
that.
you said, we've been conditioned to believe like we're crazy, we're oversensitive. It's somehow us being irrational. But like 9 times out of 10, we promise you
10
it is
times
not
out of
you.
10. 10 times out of 10.
I don't know. I speak from personal experience.
I'm wrong sometimes.
9 times out of 10, yeah.
I'm wrong sometimes.
But we will not admit that. That was just
no.
we will
just
retract that
hypothetically,
statement.
I've been wrong.
Yeah.
In hypothetical situations. Should we go on to the next?
Yeah. I'm just gonna keep
Hi, Megan and guest. Just want to say that I love the podcast. So I have a bit of a dilemma. I am engaged. That's not the dilemma. I love my fiance, and we're super excited to get married and can't wait. We're getting married in the fall. But our dilemma is with his father. His dad is very much an absent father, and they've always had an estranged relationship. They text maybe 3-4 times a year if it's a good year. But he has a wonderful stepfather who is very much his father. His mom is absolutely lovely, so he's always had great parents in his life. Recently, his dad was arrested on felony charges, and it has to do with money. He didn't murder anyone or anything. But still, his dad could be a felon. The investigation is ongoing. So what we've been discussing lately is whether or not he's in jail by the time we get married. If he's not in jail, should he come to the wedding? I really don't like his father. He's hurt my fiance one too many times, and I just think he's a terrible person. I refer to him as a sperm donor a lot. My fiance knows my feelings about this. However, I've repeatedly told him that I will support him with whatever choice he makes, and I've really made that clear to him, and he knows that that's the truth, and I will support whatever he wants to do. I just think that my fiance is struggling because he knows that if he doesn't come to the wedding, it's kind of the end of what could be a potential relationship for the two of them in the future. And I don't know that he's ready to close that door yet. And I don't entirely blame him because at the end of the day, no matter what faults he may have or felony charges, he's still his dad. And I want to be respectful of that. And it's kind of hard for me to imagine because I have 2 incredible parents. So I can't really imagine what a terrible, difficult situation he's in. So we've had a lot of talks about it, and they've all been really good and productive talks. We haven't had any fights or anything about it, but any advice that you could give on maybe how we should handle the situation and his father would be great. Thanks so much. Bye.
Oh, I
saw where that was going the second she said we were getting married, but
oh yeah, no. Honestly, it's kind of one of my favorite lead ups in calls.
Yeah.
So we're getting married, but I'm like, oh, but what? But what? But what is there hiding?
That is so tough. I didn't hear though in the call, how does the fiance actually feel?
He's torn, about how he's got a great stepdad and he's loves his mom and has a great relationship with them, but is torn because
the fiance doesn't know.
No, that what he wants to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So it's more she's going to be giving him gentle pushes in a direction when it really should be his
She said that she would support him no matter what he decided, but she just wants like
we're giving them both advice. Apparently,
Got it.
I don't know if he consented to us giving advice, but we're giving. I think like as much as your sperm donor jokes are really funny, I think you just need to like, unless he brings it up.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't bring up his dad. I wouldn't do anything about that because like for as often as you think about it, I'm sure he thinks about it 10 times more. And like you're totally being very like sympathetic and understanding like how hard this must be for him, considering how hard you feel it is for you. And that's just like satellite being like, I feel bad because it is hurting him. So I would just say like really stand by what you say with like you're going to support whatever decision. And by doing that, don't bring it up. And don't talk about it with him. And I know you're planning a wedding and you kind of like...
You're like, I need to fucking know.
Yeah. And also like, I understand the feeling of like, I'm the kind of person like, let's solve it fucking right now. Like, let's just do this. And like, you just need to quiet that part of your brain and just like reserve however much extra ahead it is going to be for that, like to have him there. Reserve that, have that aside. Like know that maybe even up until like the day before the fucking wedding, he might change his mind either which way. So I would say I would just not talk about it until he's ready to talk about it. And then also maybe he doesn't want to make a decision until the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that whatever his process is going to be, I think in order to fully support him, I just think you need to let him instigate everything. And if he talks to you and is like, hey, like, what do you think? Like, I want to talk about this. Like, I need some advice for like, be there to like listen. But I don't think bringing it up is, I
mean, I can so relate to this problem because I have been in a relationship before where I could not stand this person's brother, whatever. If he knows who he is, he knows who he is. I could not stand this person's brother. And it like affected everything we did, vacations we would take, birthdays, gatherings, and like he would talk so much shit to me about his brother. He'd be like, my fucking brother did this, and I'd be like, well, then don't invite him to this thing. And he'd be like, I have to. He's my brother. And I'm like, well, then don't come to me and complain because I'm someone who takes on the emotional weight and gets angry because, of course, you love this person. He's your fiance. Like, you want to be mad for him. You want to protect him. You are now this new role in his life. You are going to be his wife. So, of course, you feel this responsibility to do that. But also, he might be confiding in you because he is comfortable with you and wants someone to vent to and talk through these things. But what he says to you shouldn't ultimately be a reflection of how you bounce back the advice to him. It shouldn't be like, well, if you fucking hate him and he's hurt you so many times in your life, it's a no-brainer. And I don't know, how do you feel about like when people say weddings are for you, not other people? You know?
I think like I just don't think, I don't know. I think weddings can be so tricky, but I think they're like one day. And I think like I think, first of all, I think the idea that his dad and him, if he doesn't invite him to the wedding, that'd be the end of the relationship. I don't see that.
Harsh,
I don't like, I don't foresee that also happening.
You bring up such a good point that reminded me of something a friend said to me. I have friends that are getting married. I have a big event happening the same weekend, like career changing event. And I had to bring it up to them that there was a chance I might not be going to their wedding. And it was like dead eyes. And they were like, okay, we'll figure it out. And my other friend looked at me who's married and she said, they won't fucking realize if you are there or not. Unless you are the best man or like an integral part, which it sounds like the father isn't really that involved anyway. So it's not like he'd be missing a puzzle piece at the event. He'd probably sit in the back at a table and no one will fucking notice if he is there or not. And to me, it's like, that made me lean more towards saying like maybe invite him, because at the end of the day, you're going to have so much other shit on your brain that day that if he's not there, is it going to make you think about it more? Or if he is there, is it going to make it think, it's like, what's the lesser of two evils?
And it's just one day. Like, and it's like, you don't have to, for you not liking him as the bride, if he was there, like you don't have to talk to him. And then, but also like if your partner and your fiance like wants to do this because it's like a gesture in his mind, then that needs to be fine. But like no one person, unless he's like gonna like, you know, like commit a felony at the wedding. Like
still, you could get caught with weed and get a felony. Like, come on.
There's nothing that any one person, nothing that he could really do that I could see, like, because like that's the only time I would say don't invite somebody. It's gonna ruin your wedding. Yeah. I don't see that, and I think like the thing is that what you just need to know, and like because like coming from somebody who does not have a perfect family situation, what you're saying about you having a perfect like your family being great and not understanding this. For him, the struggle he's having is like, yes, he has a great family, but this to him, it's not necessarily, he's not thinking about his dad in all of the actions that he's done. He's thinking about the possibility of who his dad could be. And that's a hard thing to let go of. Like you really want people to live up to like society's expectations of what they're going to be in your life. And like, no matter how great of a stepdad that he has, like, I'm sure there's a part of him that still wants his dad to want to be a good dad. And I think like, whatever decision he makes is gonna be it. You just need to let him do that for himself. But I think like you might invite him and it might have been the wrong decision, but in 3 years you won't remember that.
Now you got to keep us updated.
Yeah. What's a felon with money?
Laundering or like illegal wiring. There's the spectrum of felony is such bullshit. I only know so much about this because I'm from Florida. And
my God, Florida.
1.4 million people just got their voting rights back this midterm because they were felons. Whatever. Point is like, yeah, a felony's bad, but there are so many things that can be in play here that doesn't make him a bad person. It could be like wrong place, wrong time, got caught up with the wrong people in the wrong business. Yeah. Maybe they have a business manager that did some other shit. Like, because when celebrities get in trouble for like taxes, I'm like, they've never seen a bank statement. Yeah. Like they have hired people that fucked them over, you know? Yeah. Anyways, it's tangent.
No. Where are you from in Florida?
Tampa.
Oh. Ooh. Yeah, I think that my end cap advice would just be to just listen to him and don't
let him decide.
Yeah, and also he doesn't have to make a decision. Do you know what I mean? Like I would also foresee potentially him not saying anything to his dad. So not telling his dad, by the way, you're not invited. And then also not telling his dad, here's where you come and here's what this is. And so by him not saying anything.
They ask the dad? Could the son be like, do you want to come to my wedding? What if the dad's like, oh, grumble, like, oh,
it seems like maybe he's trying to get validation though from if he invites him and if he shows up, then this will be some way for them to move their relationship forward.
Yeah, I think I think also has he talked to like the mom and the stepdad about it and all that stuff too?
How are they going to be about it?
Yeah,
there's a lot of factors here.
There are, and I think that the advice that I would give him, and this is what I try and do when I make decisions, which I don't always do, but I'm like, what will make me happy? Like when this decision, what will make me happy in the moment, and what will like make me happy 5 years later? Like what is something that like tactic. I will try and like. Not because there's some things that are like like that they're like cathartic and great in the moment, but you're like this
McDonald's,
like this is gonna blow up in my face, or this is not the right decision to make. And there's like the quick fixes, and sometimes it's like a little more painful to start, but it's like better towards the end and like the long haul stuff. So just telling him that, because if it's about I think what he should do if he was calling in, I think it's more about preserving your feelings of guilt than about wanting what you want in return and what you want out of it. Because I think if it's more about, I'm going to feel really guilty if I didn't do this invite, so I really want to do it, versus I really want to do this because I really want him to then like be my dad in my life again. Right. Because I think if you're expecting something from someone, you're going to always be disappointed. And I think it's better if it's preserving your own conscience and feeling like, you know what, I did my part and whatever else happens, that's fine. But now I feel like okay about doing this versus trying to do it just to get some sort of validation from him. Because I feel like that's when people usually disappoint you is when you expect things out of them.
That's great advice. Doing it out of, I like that. I never thought about that because sometimes you just do it because you're just like, nah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a people pleaser.
Well, best of luck, and let us know how your wedding goes. Congrats. Send pictures.
Send updates.
Yeah, I love wedding pictures.
I want to know if this guy goes to jail.
Me too. Okay, on to the next.
Hi, Meghan. I'm 22 years old, and recently I've been dealing with some drama in my boyfriend's friend group. I don't really know most of his friends, but I do know one of them. He's one of my very, very close friends and has been for a while. He's the one who introduced me and my boyfriend. And I knew that there was something going on with him and his ex-girlfriend, that they've been fighting, that there's been some sort of vague thing that's kind of divided this friend group, but no one has been able to tell me that much about it, and I didn't really care also. But recently my friend opened up to me, and he told me that basically what happened is that there was a night, I guess while he was dating this girl, that I don't know, he got really drunk and they had sex even though she didn't want to have sex, and that she didn't really think anything of it at the time, I guess, and neither did he until after they broke up. They probably broke up a year and a half ago. Only in the months kind of after they broke up did she really realize kind of how she was really dealing with the repercussions of that, and how violated she really felt and how terrible that experience was for her. And I don't really know what to do in this situation in terms of how to support my friend, or if I don't support him. He's been really, in my opinion, really mature about the whole thing, and has acknowledged that that's what happened, and is he's been pretty devastated about it, I guess, and kind of can't believe that he ever could do this kind of thing, and didn't even realize that it was interpreted that way until really recently. And I've never been in a situation where I've known someone who potentially has committed assault. I've only known girls that I know who have been through the situation, and we've always been okay, well, we cut that person out of our lives, obviously, because they're toxic and horrific. But I don't know this girl really, and I do know my friend, and I completely believe her. It's not that I don't think that it happens, I totally do, but I'm also seeing my friend now struggling and in pain because of his own actions, and he very much was I understand if you never trust me again. And I was that's not how it is, but I don't really know if is it bad of me to want to help him? And, I can never get this girl's side of the story because I don't know her. I can only know whatever my friend chooses to tell me. So yeah, I guess I'm just conflicted about who I should be on the side of right now.
Wow. Okay.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
It's really, I think it's a unique perspective that I haven't heard this kind of situation happen to before, especially there's something in my stomach that makes me feel uncomfortable hearing how aware of it he is and how apologetic he is. Cause part of me is well, maybe he's really sorry. And then part of me is if he knows what it is and what happened, does that make him less wrong? No, right?
No, yeah, I'm with you. And this so many of my guy friends, this is their biggest fear. And the amount of times that my guy, which they're first of all, if you knew who my guy, they've run on the podcast as my guy friends, if you didn't fucking know them, they're these are the guys who when they've stopped complimenting girls because they're very much, they've asked me is it okay if I compliment someone on their outfit? And I was it's fine, you can do that, that's okay. And this literally for them, they've said this, my biggest fear is someone that I've dated before, something that they're not comfortable with. And the thing that I always tell them is I'm so no, if you're dating somebody and you know somebody well enough, in a situation, if they're gonna call you out or say something that made them uncomfortable for something, if you're dating somebody, you should know their levels of comfort and their boundaries. I think that if I'm always on the side of somebody who's gotten assaulted. I think this is it's a very unique case, and my mind goes to, so she wasn't comfortable having sex, she got really drunk, and they had sex. That if this was a guy that she had just met at a bar and he didn't know that she was saving herself or something, or wasn't comfortable having sex, and she got too drunk and too drunk to say no, or anything like that, as her boyfriend and someone who dates her and knows her levels of comfort and her boundaries, the fact that, to me, it's taking advantage of an opportunity of someone when they're drunk and still going through with it, because he knew sober her was not okay with it, and I'm sure he was drunk too, And there he didn't draw the line. Like that's to me.
He's coming to terms with the fact that he raped his own girlfriend, which happens very often. And people like it's coming out a year and a half later or whatever is what she's saying is that is often what happens because you're like, I'm in a relationship with this person.
I owe this person.
They are a part of me. I give them my, whatever on the daily. If you do or don't, it doesn't matter. But I can see the thinking behind that where he is now like having to come to terms with that. Also not realizing what now she has to reconcile, therapize through. And like, I don't feel sad for him at all. And I think he's actually really lucky that he's someone who recognized that he did something wrong and moving forward. Like I hate when the guys do that shit that you're talking about with your friends. Like, ooh, can we do anything with women? It's like, no, you shouldn't have. And we live in an age group where guys did get away with so much and not even get away, but like we're taught to treat women certain ways. And I think moving forward, the only thing that will prove this guy's, not innocence because he's not innocent, but that he's changed is that if he actually fucking changes and can treat women better and like, this also sounds like something that like it's a crime, right? Like what happened is illegal and should police get involved? And like, that's what I'm thinking about.
I'm also the fact that the original aspect of this call is your friend group's divided because of this. So her saying that she only knows one side and she doesn't know the girl, so she can only know one side. So what do you mean by the friends group's divided? Like, are people divided based on his statement alone? And like friends are like, I'm done with you based on this? Or do they have contact with the girl? Like why are some people on staying with his, why the people who are cutting him out, I would say talk to those people and see what that is. But my thing from the beginning, like I've had boyfriends or like guys, like boyfriends that I've dated and we've had sex before and we've both been drinking and I've been too drunk and they're like, I love you, but I'm not comfortable having sex with you when you're this drunk. I don't know if she's told him, if she's the one who told him and is like coming to terms with it and she's going to therapy and everything like that. I think he should go to therapy. I think that's something that he needs to work on. Like talking about it with like friends and being like, if you never trust me again. And like that to me is also like a little attention melodramatic because you're not dating him. Like, is he implying
he's trying to get you to sympathize with him and be like, I realized what I did is wrong. Like I'm a puppy with my tail between my legs. And it's like, if you have any friends that are still on his side, I would also re-examine that friendship. Yeah,
because I think even from only hearing his side and not her side, like both of us are being like, I mean, you took advantage of a situation, you took advantage of your girlfriend, and like there is that part of your mind, like just like you're saying, of like, oh wow, just because we're dating doesn't mean that that's an automatic consent all the time. And that so much happens in relationships that people aren't comfortable with. And yes, it probably did take her a while because she felt like, oh no, I can't claim that I feel uncomfortable because I chose to date you. It's like the whole thing with consent is you have to consent every step of it. Like I can consent to go on a date with you, but that doesn't mean I want to kiss you. Always. But like the same thing, like there are certain things like you've got a line of where you want to cross, like, and just because you've said yes to up into that line doesn't mean that anything past that line is that's a blanket yes statement for it all. And so I would say talk to the friends who've cut him out completely and talk to them and hear that. I would suggest to him, like, I think like going to therapy would be great. You really seem to be struggling with this.
Like go to therapy or go to jail, dog. Like she's lucky she's not, but like dead ass. Like she's lucky she's not, and she might like, this stuff does come out years later. I mean, look at what's happened just even with like the Kavanaugh situation and how that has in a way really it's divided people about the conversation about like shit, the word taken advantage of is so interesting to me because it's like not we like us, but like the media is more lenient to say, well, like it's a cloudy area or like there's a gray area, especially if you guys are in a relationship or like, call it what it is, it's rape. That's what it was. And that's what happened to her. And I think you have to make a decision for yourself as a woman. Do you want to be friends with a rapist? Yeah. I'm sorry. And maybe like he's going to learn from this and I hope he does. And he turned into a better person and he has successful relationships. But to me, it's like, I, again, quick to cancel and when it's warranted. I'm not like about cancel culture, but like when someone shows you their true colors, believe them.
Yeah. And just there's to me, it's also a little odd that he told you this. Like when someone says something that like, have you ever like someone tells you like a story and they're telling it to you and you're supposed to, they're thinking you're going to feel bad for them, but then you also start to think that they're pretty guilty. And then you're like, wait, but this is your side. So like if I'm thinking that you're kind of to blame in your own story where you're the leading role, like I can only imagine if somebody else from a third party or the other person affected were to tell the story, because even when you think you're painting yourself in the best possible light, if you can see that, like, there's a reason why you called in. There's a reason why you feel a little uncomfortable and weird.
Because you have a conscience.
Yeah, and he's not. This is your boyfriend's friend, and this is a friend group.
It's her friend too, because he introduced them.
Oh right.
I just find it weird that he that he told her.
That just makes me feel uncomfortable.
It's like, how does that even come up in conversation?
And why? Yeah. And what is that like? What do you gain from that?
And like, because you're a woman, he feels like he can dump a little bit on you probably to like get the okay from you. If you give him the okay, how do we know that he's like actually changed, learned anything?
And if you feel so guilty and so torn up about it, like, would you tell some like that? To me, I'm like, if I felt so terrible about something like that, like I would do everything I could to make it right with whatever person in what way I could, like not like never been in this situation, but like, yeah, if I hurt somebody, my reaction is to like, holy fucking shit, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to never like hurt someone like that again? And how can I like how can I help that person? And how can I help myself? I'd have too much pride to then tell other people about that kind of thing. So for me, it just seems like he's trying to get people on his side. And I don't think
he deserves it.
Yeah. And again, I think you should talk to the people who have cut him out and divided the friend group.
She said she's not friends with the girl. She doesn't know her. But my first thing would be like, is she okay? Like, does she need support? Is she feeling like felt and heard and seen and all of that? And like, imagine her looking at, whatever your Instagram stories or whatever, and seeing all of you guys out, hanging out, being cool. Like, I could never imagine how that must make another woman feel. And so I would just look at it from that standpoint of like, what is this going to say about you also as a person? Like, he might be a friend. No one likes hearing that a close friend of yours is now problematic fave. Like, hello, no one's, that is happening to a lot of people right now. And I think this is going to be like a big bookmark in your book of life, like a big chapter in your book of life of how you're going to continue to either empathize, sympathize with men like that.
Yeah. And as much as you say you don't know this girl, so you can't talk to her, I like
DM her.
Yeah. I think there's something like, I would feel like, like not to get like so personal in my life, read my book, but like there have been like girls.
I brought you a t-shirt too. Don't let me forget.
There's like when you've been in various shitty situations with men, and then there are people who know about what happened, and then you see those, especially women, you see those women stand by.
You're like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah. I think like at least for me, having been in not the same situation, but like there are certain, like I would have been hella fucking nice, like to have like a girl who is a part of like a friend group be like, hey, like I just want to reach out, see how you're doing. Like, I just want to let you know, I heard about all this stuff, and like, it's fucking like, I really would just like, if you want to talk, like, I just want to offer my support. I'm really sorry I didn't know.
But also she might be like, he's going around telling people.
Well, he is. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
she deserves, maybe she should know that like
he is going around and like, that's the outing her story, which I like,
and
that was my first thought too.
Story.
Right. That was my first thought, was like, well, what if she doesn't want people to know? And it's like, he's telling people, and maybe you can DM her with the caveat of like, by the way, this is completely between you and I.
Yeah.
I don't know who else he's telling. He found me in confidence, and I just want to let you know that when I heard it, my first thought was not how can I help him, but how can I help you? That's I think the
and
better.
Also like he told me, I don't know if he's told anybody else, and
it's dividing their friend group, so he has
so clearly he's telling people,
and then just be like, and I really like, I don't think this wasn't his thing to tell me. This is something that was like happened to you. and I don't want,
that's a tricky one. You bring up a really good point, because then it's almost like, are you now trying to help her because you feel guilty for helping him? And now you're bringing unwarranted trauma back to her, where she's like, I think maybe trying to deal.
I do think she deserves to know, though, because I think more than that, like we're only hearing his side of it. And I think if he wants to tell people, then she has every right to know. So then she can act or not do anything. Like she could then tell, like, and be like, you know what? Like, thank you so much for reaching out. Like, I would love to talk. Like, it was really hard, because I'm sure, like, does she knew her when they were dating? Like maybe.
I don't know. She kept saying, I don't really know her.
But knew of her in a sense that like
it wouldn't be weird to reach out.
And like I think like it might be nice for her. And then also she can also be like, turn you down, but then she at least knows that he's telling people, because that's like the hardest thing. It's like now suddenly like it's like pity party for him.
And I can already hear the like, well, when do we forgive? Like, do we ever forgive someone? Right? Because that was the thought in my head, is like, you know, if this happened to, you know, my dad or I don't have a brother, a hypothetical brother, like, can you ever find in your heart a space to forgive? And I think right now it's too soon, even a year and a half after, to really see. They just broke up, it sounds like, to see if he's changed. Maybe you do reach out to her. Maybe you don't want to like bring up trauma to her again. But my advice is, he has shown his colors, and until he can do the fucking work of proving that he's not, and not in a creepy way of like, I can't touch women, but like just proving that he can have a successful, I don't know. I also don't want this guy around women.
He has to go to therapy.
Yeah, that's what you should do for him. You should
because
tell him
he
to go to
doesn't
fucking therapy and
understand
make sure he goes.
consent. That's what this boils down to. It's like somebody who's not been comfortable with something for your entire duration of your relationship gets drunk. You're taking advantage of the opportunity that they're saying what you want to hear,
and that's like deep DNA shit about you. Man, that needs to change.
And like it's just I like exactly what you're saying. Like, when do we ever forgive people? Like, I'm also like, I'm not one to ever like, I'm like, if you've done something where you've like hurt anybody else, like I think we give a lot of people like we're not giving people enough credit of being like, oh wow, like situationally, like it was a gray area, like who would have known kind of thing. I'm like, I would have known. Like I say one joke that I don't think lands, I'm like, oh God, how did everyone read that? And I'm like, there's no way that you can shut down anyone else's like reactions to things like that. To me, as I'm like, I know that men are stupid, but you're not that fucking stupid.
I mean, he feels guilty about it now.
There's a reason why.
Therefore, he knew in that moment that it wasn't.
And that's exactly like earlier when I said like, I'm quick to cancel, but not in the sense of like cancel culture, because I think that's its own problem. But like, right, just for example, with the Kevin Hart situation that's been happening recently, it's like, was it really that wrong? Like, back then jokes were different, the time was different, and it's like, are we going to see change in what he has proven now? Maybe people were quick to just say like, oh, without knowing all the information, fuck that guy, he's done. Like we're not watching his movies, we're not doing this anymore. It's like, okay, well, first you really should get both sides of the story. And in this situation, you have gotten his side of the story, which, like you mentioned, is the infliction. And if he has admitted guilt, well then, girl, you got facts, you got receipts, you got what you need to do to make a decision. And can you forgive? Maybe. I don't think right now.
No,
I don't think he should have. I don't think he should have the sympathy. I think he needs tough love of like fucking therapy, and your lucky your ass isn't in jail.
Yeah. And I think also it's the same thing we say with cheating. Like it's like what you know when the person tells you something, it's 10 times worse and you don't know a lot more shit. And that's what this to me sounds like. His side of the story, which is painting him as best he fucking can, is really fucking bad. So imagine what her side of the story is. And just support other women. Who knows who knows if maybe her friends aren't being supportive or her family's not. I think it's
and talk to your boyfriend, because it sounds like
this is a great time to have a talk about consent with your boyfriend.
And just like to have your boyfriend also talk to the bros, because like if it's divided your friend group, I think you guys could really be like tentpole like active, I hate to say the word activist amongst friend group, but like just a voice of reason humans amongst this like group of apparently shitty friends, because half of them are still being cool with this dude. And
if there's a lot of girls in that friend group, I think it's a great time for you guys to talk to, because some of the girls
might
feel
book club.
They might feel divided in a weird way. You know? So, well, shit.
You can do it.
Well, best of luck.
Do the hard thing.
Well.
You know? It's usually the right thing.
It's true.
Did I just make that up?
Yeah. Always.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah, do the hard
thing. It's usually the right thing.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
It's the right dick.
Life changes you. Hollywood hardens you.
It does. Makes you jaded. Okay, guys, it's time for a quick break and we'll be right back. It's time to get back into healthier habits with BioClarity, a clean and green skincare brand that just works. So guys, I use the Essentials routine. It is currently like, I'm saying winter in quotations, but you can't see because this is a podcast. It's like chilly in Los Angeles. So when summertime rolls around, I might switch over to the clear skin routine when my skin starts to get oily. But right now I'm doing the Essentials routine because it's for normal to dry skin. And this is a 3-step regimen that is packed full of detoxifying and calming nutrients, antioxidants, and a super special ingredient only found in BioClarity. Flora Lux from plants. It nourishes and soothes skin, helps with redness and hyperpigmentation, and even skin tone and texture for a healthy glow. I'm all about evening texture in my skin. If you guys know, I'm a skin picker, which it's a terrible. Also, don't give me that look.
It's gross.
It is. I have a problem. I know that, but I've gotten a lot better over the years. Sometimes, I don't know if I've gotten a little bit better than I have before, but that's also because my skin is clearing up. And so I really look for products that really help with texture because acne scarring and all that. So I really like being able to do that in a natural way. And I really love this because I'm able to focus on helping my texture and redness, and my skin's really sensitive, and it doesn't make me more textured and red, which I'm a huge fan of. So get healthier, more radiant skin by going to BioClarity.com. And right now, for my listeners, when you purchase a skincare routine, you'll get a free clarifying mask with your order. That's a $25 value for free, but you need to enter my code BLAME at checkout. So go to BioClarity.com and get your free clarifying mask when you purchase a routine when you use my code BLAME at checkout. For a lot of beauty brands, luxury means something you have to splurge on. But when you experience the performance and innovation of Hourglass Cosmetics, you'll find that for them, luxury means so much more. I've been a huge fan of Hourglass for ever. I've talked about their eyebrow stuff, talked about their ambient lighting powders and blushes and all of their powders. It's just it's bougie and glam in a wonderful treat yourself kind of way. And I just love all of their products. And one of their new ones is Hourglass's Caution Extreme Lash Mascara. Guys, it's groundbreaking. Its advanced formula is completely vegan and never flakes or smudges even after wearing it all day, which I can testify to because I currently have a lot of allergies. I don't know what's in the air, but whatever it is, I'm allergic to it. And it has not smudged and has not come off on my lower lashes and made me look emo. It's been great. The tapered brush delivers endless length, intense volume and lift, and helps you get those hard to reach areas like the inner corner and the lower lash line. Caution Mascara is a game changer. It's no wonder Allure magazine called it lash lift in a tube. I just love this. Like I said, guys, it's so great for, lashes in general. I really like stick straight lashes that aren't that long. And so this I find really helps hold a curl and it doesn't flake off, which I don't know. Sometimes I find it hard to find a mascara that looks good on your upper lashes and your lower lashes, which might just be obsessive about my eyelashes problem, which it's fine. I'm okay with that. I can admit it. But I love the fact that it doesn't make, I don't look like a spider on my bottom lashes, but it gives my upper lashes, they can tell. It's oh girl, you don't have eyelash extensions anymore. We'll help you out. Just like everything else from Hourglass, Caution is 100% cruelty-free, vegan, and comes wrapped in a beautiful, innovative package. And yes, it really works. Discover Hourglass and experience unparalleled next-generation performance by visiting hourglasscosmetics.com/blame and use promo code BLAME to get free shipping with your purchase of a full-size Caution mascara. That's hourglasscosmetics.com/blame, promo code BLAME. This weather can be confusing for your body. You're bundled up in the cold, but after running around all day, you realize you've been sweating under your layers. Keep it fresh and clean this winter with coconut deodorant from Kopari. Kopari's coconut deodorant is aluminum-free, vegan, and does not contain silicones, sulfates, parabens, GMOs, or baking soda. It's a cleaner option that works just as well. Kopari's coconut deodorant is formulated with plant-based actives like sage oil and coconut oil so you stay fresh all day. It goes on smooth and doesn't leave behind a sticky white residue. Along with the original coconut scent, Kopari offers a fragrance-free version of their deodorant, plus 2 new scents, Beach and Gardenia. With Kopari, subscription deodorant is shipped to you as often as you choose, automatically for free. They also offer a money-back guarantee. I'm a huge fan of Kopari deodorant, guys. You've heard me talk about it. I love being able to switch anything for like a healthier, more natural alternative, especially when it's something that's like going into like my pores and my skin and all that stuff, but I also still want it to work. And as somebody who's like perpetually cold, but then like I'll get in my car and sweating all the time, this is one that I just like keep in my purse and I never forget to put it on, because I'm like, oh, if I forgot, I'm just in my car and I'm just swiping it on, and it's great. Keeps me nice and smelling, not like a sweaty gym sock when I'm at the gym with my sweaty socks. So it's a good time. I've got the original coconut scent, and in this rainy Los Angeles weather, which I know I can't complain, polar vortex, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. It makes me feel like it's summer, even though I see the palm trees and it also still feels like summer outside. So go to koparibeauty.com/blame to make the safe switch today and save $5 off your first order when you subscribe. That's Kopari, Kopari, beauty.com/blame, koparibeauty.com/blame. So we're back from the break, and we're going to hop into the rest of the calls.
Hi, Megan. So I'm 21 and just, I don't know, needed your advice on kind of what's going on. So I have to give you some backstory before I get into my question. So my aunt absolutely hated my grandpa, my grandpa, who is my aunt's father-in-law. She would constantly say horrible and mean things about him and be condescending to him when she was with him, and would refuse to invite him to family dinners and holidays. He was even diagnosed with stomach cancer and had to have surgery to remove his stomach, which was like a high-risk, high-fatality surgery. And she didn't even bother to come or to call or even to let my uncle see him, which is his dad, in the hospital or anything. So in June, my grandpa was murdered by a guy who carjacked and kidnapped a lady and killed her while traveling across the country, and then carjacked and killed my grandpa. And he was caught, but my aunt is now using the drama and tragedy of my grandpa's murder to get attention. She's constantly talking about and like posting on social media about how he was an amazing person, and she's so lucky to have known him, and she's devastated that he's gone. And I know that if he would have died naturally or from a health issue or anything like that, she wouldn't have said anything and would have just moved on. So I guess I just don't know how to deal with her acting that way. Because obviously that's going to upset me, just because of how she acted and treated my grandpa before. And I was close to my grandpa and like took care of him after his surgery and everything, and knew that it upset him that she treated him that way. Normally I'm pretty patient and forgiving and I'm not very confrontational. And so things roll off my back pretty easily, but I don't know, this just gets under my skin, and kind of builds up. And I'm afraid, I'm also the kind of person that will just kind of blow up and become very confrontational. And I don't want to do that to maintain the integrity of my family, especially because my aunt is very manipulative and dramatic. So if I was to say anything, she would kind of cause the family to be torn apart and spin it to be my fault. And that's kind of the last thing my family needs right now. So I just don't know what to do or how to process the way she's acting, and just kind of wanted your advice on what you would do or what you think I should do in this situation. Thank you.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. What a terrible
That's so
thing.
sad.
That's
Yeah,
so sad.
I'm so sorry, dude. I think first I like to ease your a little bit of your anger. Probably know that this is coming from guilt from the that's 100% this is her trying to make up for the fact that she knew she was a fucking cunt, and that's what this is. And I think also you're saying, if he had died from natural causes or something like that, I'm sure maybe she would have come to she thought that she had time or something, anything to come to terms with it. And it was really selfish and shitty of her. And now that's she's trying to like manifest into the world a relationship that they didn't have because she feels really guilty.
She wants to remember it differently.
Or this is probably like a high profile thing that's in their town. If it was a carjacking and she wants attention.
Either way, like it's so, to me, it is that she is your aunt by marriage. And we all have those fucking people who joined our family, not by our choice. And you're like, what the fucking fuck? I think in this case, it's like real, recognize real. And if you hate her, I'm sure there are mumbles amongst the family that like other people probably don't love this motherfucker. And so I think it's like focus on what's important right now, which is like standing with those people, because if she's a fake and if she really is doing it for attention or like, you know, not in a way to actually grieve honestly, I think that will come out. And like it's annoying probably because you're like, who the fuck is she to speak, especially if it's in the media or like publicly about it, because she wants that comfort because she knows she's, like you said, an asshole. Like that she needs someone else to give it to her since she can't get it from the family probably.
I think you're right. I think if she's doing it just for attention, the best thing you can do is give her absolutely no attention. If that's, I think also like it's like probably like you're saying, like a high profile case, all of that stuff. I think unless there's anything that like requires you to take action, don't look at it. Don't read any articles about it. Don't like surround yourself with that, because also like I don't know. I also find like things like that when people write about accidents and people dying and stuff, like it's very like black and white, and there's not a lot of emotion and like sympathy for what's happened because it's the news and it doesn't really, and that's not what you need, because they're never, even if she wasn't there, they're not going to describe your like who he was, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I'd say just stay away from that stuff just in general. And the same thing with her, like mute her on social media. Like do not like see any of that stuff. If any of anyone brings it up to you, like, did you see this? You're like, you know what? I'm really trying not to talk about her or like look at that stuff. So like, I'd really prefer we didn't talk about it. And you give her no attention. And I think then she'll stop. Like, I think if she's not getting like any of that. And then also if your family's not going to give her that, not go, like if she's gonna do that amongst people who aren't in the family, fine, whatever, but it's only about when you're surrounded by her in person, and then you just like smile and ignore it and just know how much he'd be rolling his eyes at the situation. And I don't,
or like comment on her Facebook post like liar, like you could just call it, fuck it out.
But then
like,
gets you like the separate whole family.
Annoying. Like,
no, I think
isn't that so annoying? Like if you saw someone like literally just on social media lying, and you're like, that's not true. I don't know that I'm mature enough to not say some shit like publicly in all caps with an emoji so it stands out. But I would say like, if you're a better person than me, lean on your family in this time. Like it sounds like you have an uncle, you mentioned your family, like maybe talking shit about her to them might make you feel better. Like if all of them are like, she's fucking crazy, huh? Like maybe leave it up to an adult who might be able to get through to her in a more serious way. Like whatever her name is, like just imagine her being Betsy. Like Betsy, stop, right?
Fucking
like aren't
stop,
the worst
Betsy.
People named Betsy?
Yeah, like cows are feel like girl named Betsy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cows. They didn't do anything.
I think there was
to
a
me.
cartoon cow named someone, or like I don't know.
Anyways, Betsy will get handled, I think, by if you guys come in numbers with family. It's not up to you. You don't have to bear the weight of this annoying ass fucking thing, because I can only imagine. Because if it was my Aunt Betsy doing that shit.
But what if Aunt Betsy has kids with the uncle that she likes and the uncle that she likes, and the kids are all
Talk
separate
shit about her
stuff?
to them. I think it needs to be like a group setting,
so
and you'll feel
divorce
better.
Her?
I don't think he needs to divorce her, but I think someone needs to fucking shut her up.
I think the thing with people who do things for attention, though, even negative attention and telling them to stop is still that validation of like they're getting attention.
Do it in secret. Like do it at like, you know, the funeral, or like when you guys get together for church or some shit. Like do it when she's not around, and then like maybe that'll.
If it's cathartic, I say do it. As somebody who's like the most revengeful.
I'm too petty for this.
No, see, this thing. So I'm so fucking petty, and I've learned that a petty game without an end is just draining for me. Like there are things that are cathartic when they're cathartic to a means of an end of being like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to be like, fuck this, I'm done. But if it's an ongoing thing, the more you insert yourself in it, like at least from my perspective, the more I've inserted myself in it and done things in the moment that I'm like, oh my God, this is so cathartic. I'm like, well, now I'm fucking thinking about it. Like I wasn't even fucking thinking about it. And like, it felt good, but now I'm like, well, shit. Like I don't like.
You just need out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. And so I think there's something to be said about like, just ignoring something like that. And like people who crave attention, once they're ignored, they're going to seek for that attention somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, she's no longer getting this attention surrounding this, and it's going to be something else. And it sounds like this is kind of her personality, and she's done this, but like she did this prior, like she wanted the attention of like shit talking him, and now she wants the attention this way. So I think like the best thing that you can do is like just like smile and ignore her, and that's gonna drive her fucking crazy. If like she goes on off and thinking, you're like, yeah, cool.
Anyways, anyone pass the sweet potatoes.
That's going to drive her crazy, and it's going to make her look even more crazy than she is, because people are gonna see that that's why she's doing it. And there is something cathartic also about not engaging with someone who desperately is like trying to rile you up and not giving them that satisfaction. I know it doesn't sound as delicious, because as a petty revengeful person, like I'm like, no, fuck that. Until it's happened and you've done it, then you're like, oh no, this feels good too. It's a different kind of body high.
Yeah, I get that. I think if someone's like doing something personally to me, that's the tactic I would take, because that's like, hello, trolls, right? Like we know how to deal with that. It's like, you don't feed the trolls. But I'm just trying to see it from a point of view of like, if it is a public case and it is on the news and you keep seeing your fucking Aunt Betsy on there, like he was a great, that would drive me crazy.
No, I would,
because even if you mute, right? Like out of sight, out of mind, I'm like out of sight. What's she fucking doing?
No, I know.
Is she still talking to people? Is she still talking shit?
I'm
like
putting Google alert on.
Yeah, I'm gonna like find her somehow. But I don't know. I imagine how frustrated this girl must be. Just like, because it's not like she's doing it to her.
No, exactly.
Maybe, but it's like she's just posting it for the world. It's like, how do you tell the world? Like, how do you set the record straight for the world? You can't.
No, it's true. And anyone's going to believe what they want to believe. And if they decide to like, you know, like pay attention and like listen to what she's saying, then like that's on them.
I guess it's right. It's like at the end of the day, what's the worst that Aunt Betsy's getting? Is attention?
Yeah.
Is that the worst thing that's happening?
Exactly. And I'm sure I guarantee you're not the only one in your family who feels like this.
Yeah.
And like, if at least you know one person, like maybe like one of your immediate family members who also feels this way, maybe you guys can talk about it and see if they're like, oh yeah, I just like ignore and tune out. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm not alone.
Maybe it feels like you're the only person who's hearing this, and everybody else is just tuning her out and just letting her be crazy and knowing that it's lies. Maybe you just need someone else in your family to tell you like, oh no, we know she's, you're fine.
We got you. We all agree. Yeah, there's strength in numbers.
I think so, totally. So I would just say do your best to ignore it and not completely blow up at her at like a family function.
Like I said, go talk shit with your family, and then that way you won't blow up.
Or get a therapist and talk shit. It's one of the greatest things about having a therapist.
Is that you can yell at them and they're like,
or just like talk about other people, like fuck this person. They're like, okay, you want to talk about you now?
I need to do that more. This has been therapeutic for me. I've learned a lot about the way that I think by doing this.
Oh, I've learned a lot about I don't know if I like what I've learned about myself from doing this podcast.
We don't always have to, but just being aware is the first step.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry. That fucking sucks. That would drive me insane. Yeah. Just don't get in a Facebook fight, because I've done that too.
Oh, not especially with like a 60-year-old woman. See ya. Fuck, they are the most savage. They are the most vitriol. Like
they respond so fast.
They have nothing but time, so don't engage in that. Absolutely stay away from that for sure.
On to the next, or is it on to the next? Yeah. It's on to the next. Or on to the next.
I'll choose on to the next.
Hi, Meghan. I am 25. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years. I don't even know where to begin. So we moved in together probably like 9 months into our relationship. So we didn't really know each other that well before we got a little serious, whatever. My problem is I'm someone who, if you look at love languages and stuff like that, physical touch is mine and his is acts of service. So me doing the dishes or something is good for him, but for me, I need to be cuddled or like had sex with pretty much. The problem is he's 26 and he says that he got all of his sex and all that stuff out of like his system when he was younger, because I guess he was like a fuckboy, but I still want that like all the time, and it's more like in a loving way. It's not even that I'm like horny all the time, but it's more like I want him to show me he loves me, and I want to feel like I'm attractive and like he wants me in that way, which I know is like a whole other issue for myself. But so I see a therapist about all this, and he keeps saying things like, do you think that your boyfriend could be what you want him to be in that area? And it's been almost 2 years and nothing's really changed And it's kind of like if me and my boyfriend have sex on a Wednesday, we've kind of met our quota for the week, and I won't even expect it to happen for another week after that. And I know we're almost 2 years into the relationship, but it's been this way since the beginning, and I just am someone who wants sex a lot more than that. So I just don't know, like, what to do, because other than that, he's great, and, like, I want to marry him, but, like, we just really don't have sex enough at all for me, but for him it is. And I don't want to pressure him or make him feel bad, but that's usually what ends up happening. So if you have any advice, and I know you're probably going to say masturbate, and I do that too, but it's just not the same, and I think it's different for me because it's not about, like, an orgasm, it's about, like, doing something loving with a person. So if you have any advice, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I didn't hear if they've really talked about it in depth rather than like more so than him just saying like, I don't really have a sex drive. That is an excuse. It's an excuse because men have a problem.
It just depends.
Talking about their sex.
No, it just depends.
That's an excuse.
Talking about sex.
Yeah, like if he's like, I just don't want to fuck you because I fucked all my jizz out. That's not true.
No, but he might just have a lower sex drive. And that's what that is.
It's an excuse for him saying
for him
I have a low
sex drive.
It sounds like he probably needs to therapize what it actually really like because then she's going, am I not attractive? Does he not love me? Does he not want to touch me? When all of those things are him. It's actually him. Well,
because here's what I think saying that like, oh, I got my like sex out of my system. I was a fuckboy thing. I don't think you can get sex out of your system. But I think that like his sex drive
can lower.
Yeah.
Especially when you get in a relationship.
Yeah, and his hormones, like especially if he like younger. So if he's attributing like, oh, I was a fuckboy in my younger days, I was really horny. Like that's hormones. Mm-hmm. Like, and then he got older and those hormones like settled down.
And when you get into a relationship, men do tend to, their sex drives do lower.
Yeah. And I think
because they're comfort.
And there's something that like if it's like a fucking spectrum of 100, like everybody's sex drive is a like completely different number. And like, you probably want to get within like 10 or 20 numbers of like your partner. You're not going to be at the exact same page all the time, but like it's okay to have a lower sex drive and it's okay to have a higher sex drive. And it's okay. You can make it work, but it's also okay like to not want to make it work. And I think like the biggest thing, like my love language, number one love language is like physical touch.
Mine is words of affirmation.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's a good, like, so the thing with physical touch, and I get what she's saying about like, it's not just like sex, but it's like
feeling like physical.
Yeah,
physical touch.
But if he's not super like touchy PDA. In general, then this does turn into the physical touch only is expressing itself through sex because he's not being physical with you in other instances. So it might not even be about like, oh, we never have sex, but it's like, no, I just like want a hug. Like I want more physical touch. It doesn't need to be like
sexual.
It doesn't need to be about your sex drive and anything like that. Like you might feel like you're saying it's not about you being horny. Like I completely understand. Like I'm the same way. And it does. If you've talked to him, you've said you talked to your therapist about, which is great. But if you've talked to him about like, hey, make him fucking take the quiz. Like, right. I mean, it sounds like he does.
No, I think the love language would literally save everyone. Like, I get the touch thing touches home for me because I dated someone who was not PDA. And this is someone that I thought I was going to like marry, be with forever. And they told me that I just believed in a fairy tale, that like that wasn't out there, like what your expectations aren't realistic for this relationship. And I went into a lot of like my later 20s being like, I'm just unreasonable with my needs. I should really lower my expectations. And the guy that I am with now somehow is more physical touch than me, which like his love language is physical touch. And my mind was blown that someone could actually give me what I was looking for, even though I wouldn't really always verbalize it. But it made me so unhappy in other parts of our relationship when you are missing that chunk of your love language. So maybe it isn't physical touch, but for someone it could be acts of service. And like if you're missing that all the way often, that can affect the relationship all the way around. And I think it sounds like she's kind of at a point where it's becoming a problem because she said it's always been this way. Yeah. And you probably make excuses for yourself, make excuses for the other person. But like, if you're only 2 years in, imagine 5 years in, like you can't continue on the path that you're on now. Yeah. And love languages it's how you receive love. So if you're not receiving love in the way that you see it, you don't feel loved. And like and this is what I will say about,
God, I hate to be like the tough love of this, but I believe people can change when it comes to things. So my boyfriend's number one love language is words of affirmation. Mine is physical touch. Physical touch is so low on his, like might be the last one, like not a PDA person, nothing like that. But because it's important to me, he will totally do that for me. And there are some times when we have gone to our therapist for him. Like he like dropped my hand when we went into a party, and she goes, well, do you think that him dropping your hand in the party meant that he didn't love you anymore? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, did he like hold your hand at any other point during the evening? I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, well, now you're writing too much on this, because now like you're putting so much importance on this thing,
that it is.
And you're judging every individual moment as opposed to like the day. You've got 2 years to like judge and look at. And like, if I could like beginning of when Mats and I started dating, and like the lack of like, and it wasn't that he didn't like me or like didn't love me. It was just like, that's not what, and then he'd be like saying all these nice things to me. I'm like, okay, I don't fucking care. Like, whatever. And then he's like, well, why aren't you like, what do you mean? And then I was very physical touch, and I not so much words of affirmation. And so he would then feel like, well, why? Like, and it wasn't until we literally like had the conversation, and then it was like, okay, cool. Instead of like doing onto others as you would do onto yourself, like, this is how you receive love. Okay, now I'm going to make a point to make sure that you feel loved, and you're going to do the same thing, even though it's not how each other like sends and receives love. Like that's what you're going to do for the other person. And if he knows that 2 years in, I'm the poster child of saying like, you can change, like you can be more like that. I'm much more words of affirmation for him now. And like, I'm even like that with a lot of my other friends, because I'm like, oh wow, oh my God, I'm so happy I can help you. Because you can see that in someone's face when you're saying something and they're really like feeling loved and like registering that. And you're like, okay, cool, great. I'm so happy. So if he's had this for 2 years and it hasn't changed, like I don't see it changing. And I don't see it about being like a sex thing. I think it really is about like physical. It's about
different love languages.
Yeah. And it's about like telling somebody, this is how I feel loved, and them being like, I'm not going to do that for you.
I think the best advice is to make him take the quiz.
I think, but I feel like he has. If his is words of affirmation, how would we know that?
He has.
I think they should go to couples therapy.
Oh my God. Couples therapy is amazing, guys. Everybody should go to couples therapy. It is the greatest thing in the entire world.
I brought in lovers to therapy, but I've never done couples therapy.
Great. It's really great. It's amazing.
That's a good idea.
It's fantastic, because there's like, there's something to be like and I think the greatest thing about therapy, it's like, it just proves to people like who don't have like, they're not married, there's no contract, there are no kids or whatever. It's like, if you're going through some shit or whatever, it's like the biggest sign that someone else actually wants to put in the effort and cares. It's like, we're gonna go and we're gonna talk to some random fucking person about our problems, and I care about fixing it like this much.
Because if he's not taking that part seriously, then that's your answer right there. Exactly. That he doesn't want to change, and he doesn't want to make you feel loved, and that should be like a pretty clear sign. But go through the steps. Like, does he want to take the quiz? Does he want to put effort into realizing your love language is touch the way that your boyfriend did? Does he want to show up on time for therapy? Like, will he show up for you? I think is the underlying question beneath this.
Yeah. And I think you saying that you see like she said she saw being married, like getting like married to all that stuff. So like, I think if you see that and you see a future with him, like right now you're seeing it, but this is kind of like the one big issue that's like trying to solve. I believe there are so many things that couples can solve on their own, but if this is 2 years and there hasn't been any way, it hasn't been any headway in any way, then you need someone else to help you guys with this and help you figure it out, because it's not figuring itself out. And again, like just like you said, like if he's like, oh, I don't want to go to therapy, that's your answer. Then that's somebody who doesn't want to work on it for you, because maybe in the back, if he says no, in the back of his head, maybe he knows that he's being irrational. And just know, going into couples therapy, you might be wrong sometimes. It might be in your head, but there's
I think she'll learn a lot about her communication skills. Like it sounds like she could also use the couples therapy in that, like her way of communicating to him. It doesn't mean the way you communicate is wrong, but like you could probably use a third party professional opinion on how you communicate to him, because clearly 2 years in and you're still not getting what you want doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means you should change your tactic.
Yeah, no, that's like the one of the first things, like before we started going to therapy, like the things that I kept being like, I don't know how to communicate. Like I'm trying to communicate, but I don't know how. It became less about love language, is more about me being like, okay, so this is how I communicate and how I would hear what I'm saying, but I don't know how you're interpreting things. And that was like the thing that I told my therapist, that she was like, no, that's the smartest thing ever, is like the fact that when you talk to somebody, so many other people, like people can read into different things. You need to find out how the other person like communicates as well. And you're able to, like, if you have another party in there, they're able to bridge that gap and be like, okay, well, you're saying that, but do you feel this? It's like when you're coming from like, oh, this is what I'm saying. And then are you, is someone else reading too much into it, or are you not saying what you really feel, and everything like that? It's like, I think if you guys are serious about it, I think it's a really great choice, and like a very fantastic thing. That's like super hard, but like relationships are hard.
Double the price because there's two people?
I feel like it depends.
Is it covered by insurance?
I mean, I've got SAG insurance, which is good insurance.
I wonder, because I wonder too if it's like she's 25, she said.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that people have money to go to couples therapy.
I mean, there's a lot of like affordable places that like do sliding scales for depending on how much money.
App.
Yeah.
Can you do an app with couples therapy? I love
I think
apps.
you can.
Probably,
therapy
yeah.
apps.
Well, best of luck.
Yeah. Do you ever do like update episodes?
We do.
Oh my gosh, I want to know an update on all of these things.
Yeah, I would love an update on this one specifically. I would just love an update of someone who like listened to me saying go to couples therapy. I've been telling all of my fucking friends, like, go. It's great. It's so fucking great. Well, are we on to listeners' advice? Don't blame them.
Yes.
Ooh. What's this segment?
So this is when our listeners, they call in and give their own advice on past calls that we've had.
Cute.
Yeah.
All right. So this is from the episode with Alexandra Tweeten. And this was someone that constantly was comparing themselves to other people. So here's some advice for that.
I'm 22, almost 23. I felt so passionately, I called in the middle of the episode. Anyway, I used to compare myself to everybody all the time, to the point where I actually ruined friendships because of it. Like, I ruined friendships. And something that, like, really clicked and changed for me, that helped me change, was the mantra that I just kept saying to myself over and over again. Comparison is the thief of joy.
And
oh
my gosh.
Like she was explaining, it's like an uphill battle. And it's something that you have to like keep telling yourself, but it does get easier. Like just for weeks, just tell yourself comparison is the thief of joy. Because really the only person that you're hurting is yourself. It feels like this horrible like spiral of comparison. And if you just remind yourself that like you're just the only person you're hurting is you in this situation. So you might as well just be happy for the other people in your life and focus on you and what you have to do to improve yourself. I felt very passionate, and that's what helped me, and hopefully it helps the caller too. Bye.
It says Theodore Roosevelt said that, but I feel like I'm being trolled right now. But maybe that is my favorite quote of all time. I put it on Instagram all the time. I always tell people like unfollow anything that doesn't make you like your nipples get hard. If anything makes you go like, or even like, oh,
yeah,
or like, oh, delete it, unfollow. Like the amount of time we spend on our fucking phones, you should feel nothing but heroin.
Yeah.
Not that I know what heroin. I don't know what heroin. I am from Florida, but I don't know what heroin feels like. But like you should fit. They're so quick and a steady slope. Like the second you go off and you start following like all the fucking Hadids and all the people that like, you know, that's who makes me feel bad about myself. Like it is such a quick sliding scale. I love that quote so much. I love this person, whoever wrote that in. That's my favorite.
Oh my God, that's great. I literally have never heard that quote before.
Isn't it so true though?
Yeah. No,
You'll never realize how good everything else in your life is.
Yeah. That
you're alive, that you're breathing, that you have a podcast, that you have great hair.
Yeah. It's really dirty.
Pause for applause. That if you're like, well, someone else has a podcast, someone else has hair, someone else has a couch. That's really soft,
isn't it?
By the way,
it's really fun.
But it's just such a simple, hard truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
I love that too. And I think like the biggest thing, it's like it's all that's going to do is going to like make you feel, it's never going to make you feel better. And there's always going to be another photoshopped picture of somebody else that they photoshopped to look like somebody else. That's the thing I find crazy. It's like people are like, you idolize a picture of a model, and that model's photo is photoshopped because she saw a picture of another model who saw a picture of another model who was
like
photoshopped.
an endless kaleidoscope.
And it's all of these things are fake that they did because they didn't feel like enough. And then you're looking at like a byproduct of somebody else feeling insecure that you're comparing yourself to that doesn't exist.
And it's not something that happens overnight. Like you don't just decide like, I'm not going to compare myself to people. I really do think it's a process of like unfollowing, starting to infiltrate your feed with like what real people look like, how real people post things. Like we are in the business, so I'm sure we follow so many more accounts that are curated than we need to. But like my therapist said something really, or my nutritionist, who's also kind of like my therapist, said something really great, which is also funny because she's like an Australian model, so it's really hard for me to take anything she says to heart, but she's very smart. She always says like, you know, I'll be talking about how I hate my arms, right? Like I fucking hate my arms. And she's like, well, you're very mean to your arms. Like they didn't do anything to you. And I'm like, yeah, I know that quote that's like, oh, would you talk to yourself the way you talk to a friend? Of course not. Well, like I just can't get rid of this negative voice inside my head. And so what she told me to do is instead of sending hate to it, send love and hugs. Aww. So she's like, when you fucking hate your arms, that means your arm needs actually like extra.
Oh, it's like being needy.
It's like
your arm is like, I need some love and
so why are you like, shut the fuck up, you stupid thing? Like you're hungry and you're sad, so I'm definitely not gonna feed you. And instead it's like, just hold it and be like, it's okay, arm. You're doing the best arm you can. And so now like all over every mirror I have in my house is just like, instead of sending love, instead of sending hate, send love to whatever place needs it, because it needs a little extra that day.
Yeah, I'm needy. Sometimes I need extra love. I'm like, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?
And it's like, yes. Yeah, but I need you to mean it this time.
Yeah, and you just say it again. Okay, well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for being on.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. This is so fun.
It's just so great. You gave great advice.
You're very smart.
Oh my God, I didn't even go to college.
Is great. Neither did I. Dropped out of 3.
Oh my God, you dropped out of 3 colleges, or like there's your 3rd year?
Dropped out of 3 full universities.
3
different universities.
Really? Which ones?
Auburn University.
Okay.
NYFA.
What?
And
NYFA?
New York Film Academy.
Okay.
And then LA City College.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck school. No, stay in school, kids.
Yes. Well,
Melissa went to school.
I have thoughts about that, but that's for another podcast.
Oh yeah. No, we've had a lot. Someone did
YouTube University is going to be a thing in 3 years.
Oh no.
I'm telling you.
That's not good. Do you think Logan Paul's going to teach classes?
I hope not.
I know. I really hope not to.
They'll be gone soon.
Okay, I need to end this fucking episode. Okay, guys, if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, the phone number is 310-694-0976. And for our international listeners, email us an audio file at meghanpodcast@gmail.com.
With an H.
Yes, with an H. And where do people find you on the internet?
Oh, I'm just Kelsey Darragh on everything.
Yeah. Do you want to spell Darragh? Because it's apparently...
Oh, sure. DARRAGH.
Yeah.
It'll be in the show notes too.
Perfect.
Oh, thanks.
As will
thanks for having me. This is
ours.
so fun.
Oh my God, thanks. Come back anytime. But yeah, guys, if you liked this episode and you are watching on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed to us on the Apple Podcast app and leave us a review. That'd be great. And then if you are listening to this, you can check out the video version on YouTube. We are also on Stitcher Premium with bonus episodes, exclusive ones. If you want to listen to that and then any other place, go to don'tblameme.show. Figure it out. Follow us on Instagram. Don't Blame Me Pod. It's a Don't Blame Me Pod, but it looks like Meme Pod because there's
that's funny. I look it up.
It's so
now.
funny, and also some people are commenting like now, just random Don't Blame Meme Pod things, which I think is great. So follow us on Instagram there. I got locked out for a while because I created too many Finsta accounts on Instagram, logged me out of all of them because they were like, be nice to yourself, don't self-sabotage, and look at people who've already blocked you. So, but we're back. I'm back on. It's great. I still have one Finsta.
Such cute aesthetic. I can't.
Thanks so much.
I can't with you. You're too perfect.
Great.
I have to leave now. I need to go back to my dungeon hole.
No, but I am in dungeon hole. I'm in dungeon hole with like a clean aesthetic.
Also, the nickname for my pussy.
Dungeon hole, my nickname in high school.
And with that,
thanks guys, and we will see you next time. Goodbye. Bye. Once again, this episode was brought to you by Nurx. Imagine ordering and chatting with doctors all online and getting birth control delivered right to your door every month. Enter Nurx, a company that's here to make getting birth control easier. Nurx means fewer doctor visits, skipping pharmacy lines, and automatic refills you don't have to think about. Plus, it's the most affordable option out there without insurance and could even be free with insurance. Go to nurx.com/blame, NURX.com/blame for a $20 credit. Guys, this week we do have an exclusive bonus episode of Don't Blame Me. It is on Stitcher Premium. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. It's like extra Meghan and Melissa. You're like, oh my God, I'm almost done. I don't want this to be over. This is terrible. I have to wait a whole week. You don't have to wait a whole week. You got a bonus episode this week. So guys, Stitcher Premium knows that you guys are going to love us, but they know we're like a new car and maybe you want to test drive it. So guys, download the Stitcher Premium app and they're giving you your first month free with offer code BLAME. So download it. Listen to more of us. You got your daily. You got like a double fix. Like, you know, it's like a, what's it called when you've got two drinks in one hand? Double fisting. You're double fisting. Don't blame me. That's a good. That's not on a t-shirt. No, double fist and don't blame. No, okay, I'm done. Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts. Camera operator Amanda Lechner. Production assistance by Julie Carley. And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso. Part of the HerPod Network.